Hello everyone, I am Muzin Lee from Metri. It is a great honor to present our work at IJCNLP-AACL 2025. Today, I will be discussing our paper titled Multilingual, Non-Multicultural, Uncovering the Cultural Empathy Gap in LLMs through a Comparative Empathetic Dialogue Benchmark. This research challenges the common assumption that multilingual capabilities automatically equate to multicultural understanding and introduces a new benchmark to test this hypothesis. Let's start with the background. Current research in empathetic AI has critical limitations. It relies heavily on Western-centric datasets like empathetic dialogues. This reliance creates an implicit yet dangerous assumption that linguistic fluency is approximately equal to cultural understanding. However, as you can see in the co-BBQ example on the right, the same situation can be interpreted completely differently across cultures. A model trained only on Western data might misunderstand that drug use in Korea is often associated with high socioeconomic status, leading to inappropriate responses. This brings us to our core research motivation. Our goal is to quantitatively demonstrate this cultural empathy gap in existing LLMs. To achieve this, our method is introducing CoED, a benchmark meticulously reconstructed to reflect Korean cultural nuances rather than just translate it. Ultimately, our vision is to pave the way for truly culturally adaptive AI. Our study is guided by three key research questions. OQ1, we ask, do LLMs exhibit a statistically significant gap in empathetic performance across different cultural contexts? OQ2, we investigate, is this empathy gap directly attributable to the cultural origin of their training data? And OQ3, we explore, can LLMs truly understand untranslatable, culture-specific emotions like Zhang and Han beyond simple keyword matching? Now, I like to explain how we constructed the CoED benchmark. We adopted the cultural reconstruction methodology from CoBBQ, which I introduced in the second slide. Instead of simple translation, we established a rigorous pipeline. We started by translating the English empathetic dialogues dataset using an LLM GPT-4o. Then, human experts meticulously categorized and reconstructed each dialogue into three types: simply transferred, context modified, and sample removed. I will show you concrete examples of each type in the following slides. Let me introduce the first type, simply transferred. This category involves dialogues based on universal concepts that require minimal cultural adaptation. As you can see in the example, we simply substituted entities to maintain local relevance. For instance, Disneyland in Florida was replaced with Everland in Yongin, while preserving the original conversational flow perfectly. The second type is context modified. This is where deeper cultural adaptation happens. We adapted situations to align with specific Korean cultural codes. For example, the American practice of bar hopping is not as common or conceptually identical in Korea. So we adapted it to a surjari or a drinking gathering, which is a more culturally resonant concept. And we replaced generic birthday wishes with the culturally specific question: did you have seaweed soup this morning? This seemingly simple change carries profound empathetic weight in Korea. Finally, the third type is sample removed. Some scenarios in the original dataset are culturally dissonant or simply unrealistic in Korea. A prime example is gun ownership. While this might be a valid topic for empathy in the US, it is highly sensitive and largely irrelevant in the Korean context. To ensure our benchmark remains authentic and relatable, we filtered out such samples entirely. This brings us to the statistical overview of our final CoED benchmark. The dataset comprises 1,360 dialogues, covering 34 emotion categories, perfectly balanced with 40 dialogues per category. A key feature of our construction is the granular classification of emotions. Instead of a single label, we assigned both primary and secondary emotions to each dialogue. This approach allows us to create a dataset that finally captures the nuanced and mixed nature of real-world conversations, resulting in 555 unique emotion combinations. Now, Let's discuss our evaluation methodology. To evaluate multilingual LLMs fairly, we need to assess not just what they say, but whether they understand why they are saying it. Therefore, we designed a unified two-stage generation framework as illustrated on the left. The goal of this framework is to organically evaluate both the model's ability to recognize emotions and its capability to generate empathetic responses based on that understanding. Here is the step-by-step process. In stage 1, the model improves the underlying emotion, perception. Then, in stage 2, it generates a response conditioned on that emotion, action. On the right, you see our evaluation prompt. Crucially, we use these identical prompt guidelines for both our automated evaluator GPT-4o and non-human evaluators. This ensures consistent standards, and as I will show you later in the results section, the evaluation scores between GPT-4o and humans align remarkably well. To ensure a rigorous and multifaceted assessment, we employed 5 key metrics. The first 4 metrics, explorations, interpretations, emotional reactions, and neglect emotion alignment, were adapted from established prior research in empathetic dialogue. However, to address the core question of our study, we introduced a new metric, cultural appropriateness, CA. This metric is specifically designed to evaluate how well the model reflects the unique context and social norms of the target culture. Now, let's examine the results, starting with our first research question regarding emotion recognition. Table 1 reveals a clear and consistent trend across all 5 evaluated models. As you can see, every single model achieves statistically significantly lower accuracy on the Korean adapted co-ED dataset compared to the US-centric ED dataset. This quantitative performance drop is the first empirical evidence of the cultural empathy gap. It proves that linguistic fluency does not guarantee cultural comprehension. The models clearly struggle to interpret the deep cultural context embedded within Korean emotions. Next, we move to the response generation results evaluated by GPT-4o. The graph illustrates a general performance degradation for Western-centric models on CoED, mirroring the emotion recognition results. This gap is most pronounced in the CA metric shown on the far right, indicating a failure to align with Korean social norms. However, please look at the yellow bar, that is EXA1, a Korean-centric model. It significantly outperforms its peers in cultural appropriateness. This result is crucial because it provides the direct answer to our latitude. It empirically proves that the cultural origin of pre-training data, the data provenance, is the decisive factor for enabling authentic empathetic communication. To validate our automated results, we conducted an independent human evaluation. As shown in the table, the human ratings mirror the automated scores remarkably well, confirming the reliability of our findings on the cultural empathy gap. Human evaluators also identified the largest disparity in the CA metric, validating it as a critical measure for real-world human perception. Once again, EXA1 demonstrates distinct superiority with the CA score compared to open-source peers like Mistral. This consistency between human and automated evaluation robustly corroborates our hypothesis on the data provenance effect. Let me conclude our presentation with 3 key takeaways. First, we challenged the conventional wisdom. We demonstrated that being multilingual does not mean being multicultural. Our findings revealed a significant cultural empathy gap in current LLMs. Second, to address this, we introduced CoED. This is not just a translated dataset. It is a high-quality benchmark meticulously reconstructed to capture authentic Korean emotional nuances. Third, and perhaps most importantly, data provenance matters. The superior performance of the Korean-centric model, EXA1, proves that to achieve genuine empathy, the cultural alignment of pre-training data is more critical than mere model scale. Ultimately, our message is clear. To build truly empathetic AI, the field must move beyond simple linguistic fluency and prioritize deep cultural alignment. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm now happy to take any questions you may have. Bye.